Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Ben Schwartz. Thanks for joining us. Starting this coming school year, an undisclosed number of staff members at Warren local schools in Washington County will be armed. Newswatch reporter Destiny Jarham spoke with Superintendent Kyle Newton about what this means for the schools.
Thanks, Ben. The decision to arm teachers and staff members comes after a vote from the district school board. In May, the board voted to adopt a resolution allowing staff members who are legal gun owners to bring their weapons to school to help protect students during an active shooter situation. But they'd first have to be approved by a safety board, ensuring that they pass a drug test and a background check, as well as being unanimously approved by the board. Warren Superintendent Kyle Newton says staff members willing to carry their weapons at school need to be prepared.
This isn't de-escalation. This is a student shooting in the hallway that you are not going out there and telling them to lower their weapon. This is you're going out in the hallway and shooting them. This is elimination, not de-escalation. And I think you have that kind of frank conversation looking right at them and you say, can you handle that?
The local teachers union opposes the policy. The union says it goes directly against the recommendation of professionals. Reporting from Newswatch, I'm Destiny Jarham.
Thanks, Destiny. The resolution passed by the school board will go into effect at the start of the coming school year. The school district ensures that no one other than the safety board and law enforcement will know which staff members are armed. A longtime Athens City Council member allegedly failed to submit a sufficient amount of valid signatures to run for re-election. Councilman Patrick McGee filed 103 signatures with his petition to run, but the Athens County Board of Elections Director Debbie Quivy said only 70 of them were valid. Quivy says McGee needs at least 77 valid signatures to be on the ballot this November. She says decisions on the certification of a petition is final. The councilman says he's still trying to run for re-election and plans to file an appeal on the decision. A Dresden police officer has been suspended after allegedly losing his temper and damaging property at a Sugar Grove business. Fairfield County Officer Clayton Shull is accused of initiating an argument with an employee at his stepfather's business. Witnesses say Shull shattered a window on the door and yelled at employees. Shull says the allegations against him are false. The newest Ohio budget would change how pharmacy benefits are administered for Medicaid users. The change would boost transparency and control costs. A conference committee would also direct $100 million to pharmacies to compensate for low reimbursements. The legislature faces a deadline today to pass a budget. Republican Governor Mike DeWine can veto provisions he doesn't approve of. First responders are still unable to get PTSD covered under the newly passed Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp budget. The House passed the measure 71-13 and the Senate voted 22-9. The budget now awaits Governor Mike DeWine's signature. The Senate says it'll address PTSD coverage in separate legislation later this year. The $320 million budget allows for health care and wage replacement for workers injured on the job. Sandusky police have confirmed 4 people were taken to the hospital after allegedly overdosing at Cedar Point. According to police officers, 2 of the people were inside the park when they overdosed and 2 were waiting to go in. The initial call to the police came in at 12:19 p.m. The investigation into the incident is still open and the substance behind the alleged overdoses is unknown. There is some good news, though. Overdose death rates have gone down. The CDC says drug overdose deaths in the U.S. have declined 5.1% in 2018. The co-directors of opioid policy research at a Massachusetts-based university says this is the first time in 25 years that overdose deaths haven't increased. The National Center for Health Statistics says there were approximately 69,000 drug overdose deaths in 2018. Over 47,000 of them involved opioids. The data will be finalized next year. Things are heating up here in Ohio. A heat watch will go into effect Friday at noon and will last until 8 o'clock Saturday evening. The heat index will be between 100 and 110 degrees for most of the area. It's advised to take frequent breaks from working outside and to drink plenty of water. Make sure to check in on the elderly and people without air conditioning and watch for symptoms of heat exhaustion, including dizziness, muscle cramps, nausea, and excessive sweating. And now let's head over to Blake for a look at the weather.
Well, temperature-wise today, we're a little bit below average. A pretty cooler day out there today. 78 degrees right now in Athens. We do have some spotty showers out there. That's going to help keep those temperatures down into underneath 80 degrees. We have southwest winds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Taking a look around the region, 80 degrees in Ironton, 79 in Ripley, 81 up in Cambridge. So pretty much all of us in the same boat around here in the lower 80s and upper 70s. We do have a chance of seeing some scattered showers throughout most of the evening, and those are going to be continuing into the overnight hours and clearing out by tomorrow. So take a look at precipcast. Let's see what we have going on here. This is what's left of Tropical Storm Barry, the remnants of that low pressure system. So we have the pretty scattered showers. If you might have a few downpours in some areas, so if you're driving out, get stuck in one of those downpours, just take it slow, make sure you don't be hydroplaning out there. And we take a look at national precipcast. We see that rain moving off to northeast, and behind it, no rain in sight. We do have a high pressure getting ready to set in, and Ben, that's going to start bringing a lot of that heat into the area and a lot of hot temperatures.
Thank you, Blake. State lawmakers are closing in on a decision on whether or not to okay a financial rescue for Ohio's 2 nuclear plants. The proposal would give the plants $150 million a year by adding a fee to every electric bill in the state. First Energy Solutions says it needs financial aid to keep open its nuclear plants near Toledo and Cleveland. Opponents say the plants are outdated and giving them financial aid would be an unfair advantage over the other power plants and energy sources. The federal government is suing a West Virginia mental health and substance abuse facility for the homeless. The lawsuit cites failures to provide documentation and numerous unanswered communications. The recently filed lawsuit shows lawyers with the U.S. Attorney's Office want ownership of integrated community services property returned to U.S. Health and Human Services. The nonprofit was given the land in 2006, mandating it give updates about its health services. An official says ICS hasn't occupied the building for months. A Democratic frontrunner has stern words regarding President Trump, and articles of impeachment are brought forward once again. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box. But the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Democratic candidates are beginning to speak out against President Trump's Twitter tirade. Former Vice President Joe Biden spoke to reporters about the comments.
You know, he's praised white supremacists, embraced dictators, separated children from their families at the border, and he's launched vicious attacks against people in the United States Congress because of their ethnic background. And I don't know if any president's ever done that before, sitting president ever done that before. This isn't who we are. And the point of it is, and it's very important for us to remember, our children are listening.
Biden is one of the Democratic frontrunners. He has not minced his words when criticizing the president. Federal prosecutors ended their investigation into the hush money payments by the Trump Organization. That's according to court documents filed in New York today. The investigation is related to President Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen paying women to stay quiet about alleged affairs with Trump. Prosecutors say the Trump Organization's payments to Cohen was a violation of campaign finance laws. Sources say the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office isn't ready to charge any Trump executives involved in the company's effort to pay back Cohen. After a heated debate on the House floor, the House passes a resolution condemning President Trump's controversial tweets from the weekend. But President Trump and most Republicans are still standing by the tweets. CNN's Lauren Fox has the report.
I know racism when I see it. I know racism when I feel it.
House Democrats strongly condemning President Trump's racist tweets, passing a resolution rebuking him for telling 4 Democratic congresswomen of color, who are all American citizens, to, quote, go back to where they came from, 3 of them born in the U.S. The vote coming down largely on party lines, with only 4 Republicans and 1 independent supporting the measure.
It's not the first time I've heard go back to your own country, but it is the first time I have heard it coming from the White House.
What has really happened here is that the president and his supporters have been forced to endure months of allegations of racism.
The debate quickly turning into a partisan fight after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said this.
Every single member of this institution, Democratic and Republican, should join us in condemning the president's racist tweets. To do anything less would be a shocking rejection of our values and a shameful abdication of our oath of office.
Republicans say Pelosi broke House rules by directly disparaging the president, stalling the vote for nearly 2 hours.
I make a point of order. The gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and are ready to be taken down.
House Democrats shutting down that request. The debate frustrating presiding member Emanuel Cleaver.
We want to just fight or abandon the chair.
The House may vote on impeachment proceedings before many Democrats would like, as early as Wednesday. Representative Al Green introduced articles of impeachment Tuesday. Green says voting on his measure a day after the House voted to condemn Trump's racist language would send a powerful message.
Today we have the opportunity to punish. As a result of what we did yesterday, the president suffers no harm. He doesn't have to pay any fine. He's not going to lose his job. But today we have the opportunity to punish. Very similar to going to court, where you have a bifurcated process. First part of the trial, you convict. Second part, you punish. This is our day.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is against impeaching Trump until she is sure the public supports it. Many Democrats also believe it's a waste of time so long as Republicans control the Senate and are unlikely to convict the president. We have good news for working women. That story's still ahead.
And we have some dangerous heat on the way. More details about that in the weekend forecast next on Newswatch. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV's played Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Blake Hardesty. Right now around the Athens area, we're looking at pretty comfortable temperatures at the moment. 78 degrees here in Athens, 79 in Ripley, 81 up in Cambridge. All of us have a chance to see some rain showers throughout the evening tonight. So we take a look at precipcast. We're dealing with the last little bit of Tropical Storm Barry as it's moving through the area. We have some spotty showers and some heavy downpours at some time. So if you're heading out there on the roadways, if you get stuck in one of those downpours, make sure you take it slow. You don't want to be hydroplaning out there. Those rain showers should be moving out here by later this evening. Tonight in Athens, 70 degrees. Those rain showers are going to be clearing out. The humidity is going to be rising up to about 97% this evening, so it's going to be pretty humid out there. Not much of a breeze. We have northwest winds of 0 to 5 miles per hour. Taking a look overnight lows around the region, 78 degrees in Ripley, 72 in Marietta, 69 up in Cambridge, and 68 over in Newark. So pretty comfortable temperature-wise out there this evening. And we take a look hour by hour tomorrow, 8 a.m., 71 degrees. It's going to be a cool and humid start to the day tomorrow, 73 degrees by noon. It's going to be a very warm day out there tomorrow, 89 degrees by 4 p.m. Heat index is going to be 95 degrees. So it's going to be very humid and warm out there tomorrow evening. So as we take a look at precipcast tomorrow, those rain showers do push out of the area. Give you some clear skies tomorrow. It's going to be a nice sunny day out there. No showers to really worry about. Down here in the southern counties, might have a few rain showers popping up a little bit, but for the most part, it is going to be mainly dry out there tomorrow. Hey, we take a look tomorrow in Athens, 89 degrees. That UV index is going to be 9, which is considered very high, so make sure you're wearing that sunblock out there if you're going outside. Heat index is going to be 95 degrees out there tomorrow. Southwest winds of 0 to 5 miles per hour. Around the region tomorrow, 91 degrees in Ripley, 91 and 9 and 10 for our warm spots. Newark looking at 90 degrees and 89 over in Cambridge. It's going to be very hot out there, very sunny. It's going to be the start of a heat wave that's going to be coming up over the next few days. Tomorrow, heat indexes reaching 100 degrees down there in Ripley and 910. It's 95 degrees here in Athens and 94 up in Cambridge. So if you're outside, make sure you take frequent breaks and watch out for any type of symptoms of heat exhaustion out there. On Friday in Athens, when the heat wave is in full effect, 95 degrees, we'll have a heat watch that goes into effect at noon that day and goes until 8 p.m. on Saturday. A heat index here in Athens on Friday is going to be reaching 106 degrees, so very toasty out there. Not much of a breeze to help cool us off. We'll have southwest winds out of 0 to 5 miles per hour. So we take a look at the heat index on Friday around the region, 107 degrees in Ripley, 108 in Jackson, 109 degrees in Columbus, in Chillicothe, and Newark. So very warm. So make sure you take precautions, take many breaks, check on the elderly, make sure they're staying okay, and especially people who may not have air conditioning, make sure you're checking in on them. Take a look at the next several days. That heat wave continues into your Saturday with 95 degrees and sunny. Those heat indexes are going to be reaching into the hundreds again as well. Sunday, cooling down a little bit to 92 degrees on Sunday. We have a chance of some evening time showers and thunderstorms. Monday, 86, and Tuesday we finally get a relief from the hot weather. 83 degrees on Tuesday and Wednesday. Ben, back over to you.
Thank you, Blake. Cutting back on the amount of beef you eat may help save the planet. According to the World Resources Institute, you should cut back by a burger and a half each week. These numbers are based off of potential population growth, which is based to come close to 10 billion come 2050. The report says Americans will need to cut back beef consumption by about 40%, and Europeans will have to eat about 22% less beef if we're going to feed everyone. The study focused on cows because they require the most land and provide the fewest calories. Dropping the kids off at soccer practice 1 minute, then running late to a work meeting the next. Sometimes it can be hard for working moms to do it all, but one study is here to offer some encouragement to mothers. It says a woman's paid job could have positive long-term benefits on her health. Meredith Wood has the story.
Researchers found that having a paying job could protect women from memory loss later on in life. A preliminary study at UCLA suggests paid work offers better mental stimulation than staying at home. It also usually indicates better financial support. The researchers spent 2 decades conducting cognitive tests on more than 6,000 women. The results show memory decline was consistently fast among women who never had a job. Married mothers who didn't work had their memory decline 61% faster over a 10-year period than women who did have paying jobs. And the decline was 83% faster for single mothers who were not in the workforce. Women who left the workforce and returned later in life had slower memory loss than women who never worked. What researchers saw as most beneficial? Social engagement. Paid work allows women to better build a social network that prevents them from losing their memory as fast. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Several brands of hummus are being recalled due to a listeria risk. Brands to check for include 7 Select, Schnucks, Roundy's, Reezer's, Pita Pal, Lidl, Lantana, Hummus, Harris Teeter, Fresh Thyme, and Buc-ee's. You can find item numbers for the affected products at fda.org. Listeria is a serious infection that can cause diarrhea, fever, confusion, and other flu-like symptoms. It's specifically dangerous for those who are already ill, young children, elderly people, and pregnant women. The recalls are voluntary. So far, no illnesses have been reported. 9:23 a.m. That's the exact time Apollo 11 took off. It was July 16, 1969, and it would become history's most famous space mission, bringing humans to the moon for the first time. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of the historic event, NASA is staging another launch. But this time, instead of watching one rocket take off, people gathered at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama, to watch 5,000 model rockets take off simultaneously, rightly so, at 9:23 a.m. A Guinness World Record attempt for the number of rockets launched at the same time, hoping to break one record to honor another. A new app is gaining popularity, but it may be more dangerous than you think. And Boeing deals with more controversy. Next on Newswatch. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight at your public television station.
A box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
WOUB is member-supported public television, Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
Family members of victims killed in Boeing 737 MAX crashes told Congress Wednesday the company made criminal decisions they believe were driven by financial greed. A man who lost family in crashes caused by Boeing planes offered his thoughts on the payout.
Yeah, I think the families are in agreement that Boeing's apologies to cameras have not been apologies to the families. We were in Ethiopia, our family, after the crash, and the Ethiopian Airlines sent letters. They invited us in. They were reaching out directly, and so it was very much warmer. And the recent offer of $100 million to something seemed like a PR stunt to us. They never reached out to families to discuss what the needs of the families are.
The Federal Aviation Administration did not ground the jet until after the second crash in Ethiopia 6 months later, when the plane's stabilization system was linked to the disasters. Family members say they have not received personal apologies from Boeing. As countless purchases were made across the country for Amazon Prime Day, many protested the company's working conditions in the Portland metro area. Former and current employees and labor unions held a rally outside of Amazon's fulfillment center in Hillsborough on Tuesday. They demanded a safe work environment, higher wages, increased respect, and opportunities for growth. The protesters cited working hours without sufficient breaks, constant standing, and no medical benefits as their hours are capped at part-time. The Democratic National Committee is warning 2020 presidential campaigns not to use a popular app developed in Russia. Face app allows users to manipulate pictures in their smartphones. The DNC sent a security alert to Democratic campaigns, saying the app may have access to photos in people's phones. It went viral this week as some celebrities shared their pictures edited through the app. Its makers say the app's research and development was done in Russia, but user data does not go through that country. The DNC was hacked by Russia prior to the 2016 presidential election. A man soared over Bastille Day celebrations in Paris Sunday on a flying board, dazzling the crowd. French inventor and entrepreneur Frankie Zapata piloted the jet-powered aerial vehicle, which he calls the Flyboard Air. The board can reach an altitude of nearly 500 feet, with the potential to go much higher and a speed of 87 miles per hour. The father of one has worked with the U.S. and French militaries, with the French investing $1.4 million in tests of the board. Zapata spent 3 years creating Flyboard Air. His next dream is to fly from France to England with his Flyboard Air to mark the 110th anniversary of the first crossing of the English Channel. The crossing would require Zapata to refuel several times.
Well, tonight in Athens is going to be a pretty comfortable evening out there. Our overnight lows in Athens are going to be 70 degrees. We do have rain showers clearing out of the area. Those should be out of here by at least after midnight. And humidity is going to be around 97%. West northwest winds 0 to 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow in Athens, 89 degrees for a high temperature. The UV index is going to be nice, so make sure you remember that sunscreen. It's going to be very hot. 95 degrees for the heat index. Southwest winds 0 to 5 miles per hour. Take a look at this next several days. 95 degrees on Saturday, and Sunday 92 degrees. 86 degrees on Monday, and as it was heat wave comes through, Ben, it's going to be very hot the next couple days.
Yeah, no, I'm sure everyone's appreciating the rain today. Before we get into that, thank you, Blake. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Ben Schwartz. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org.